I don't know. Welcome back. I think. I don't know. I'm Tam Sojourner Douglas tonight. Uh, we're dropping truths tonight. That's what we're doing. I want to give a shout out to Tonio Brown for joining and all the members who have joined this month. I also want to let everyone know that are earners, 300K, 500K. We will be going live this weekend. You will get your questions answered, right? So what we'll be doing this weekend. So yeah, what's going on now? So we gotta face some hard facts. We gotta face some hard facts. I believe in the hard facts that punch you in your mouth. Maybe your mouth get a little swollen a little bit, but you're gonna be okay. You know, that's what I believe in. Sometimes you just have to have that. All right. So, Foolish Finance Fridays. I am Tam Sojourner Douglas tonight. You'll get a little petty T. You may get petty Douglas, petty T Douglas. That's what you might get tonight. Petty T Douglas. Right? Petty T Douglas. D has been shaking her head in the background like, I can't believe you changed your name. That's my name. That's my name tonight. That's my name. All right. So we've all seen the controversy this week. We saw uh the government shutdown. We saw Ebony K. Smith. We saw all the stuff with UAW, and we saw the riots in Philly. We've seen people get kidnapped. We've seen it all, right? So now, what topic am I choosing to talk about? Good old Ebony K. So, if you haven't been keeping up with Ebony K, what she stated that women should get married while in college, so forth and so on, and all of this. So he's like, how's that talent tying into Foolish Finance Friday? I'm gonna show you. We'll reel it all in. But I like to give you facts first, right? All right. So first up, we're gonna give facts, and then we're gonna analyze the video, and then I got some petty T stuff too, right? So let's get into some facts first. All right. Let's see. All right. Fact number one. What I did was I went and found all of the African American college majors and earnings, right? Because if you're gonna meet somebody in college, here's the first thing that has to happen: they gotta go to college for you to meet them at college. So they gotta get accepted and they gotta apply. Secondly, you also have to be in that circle to meet someone. So if the person is living on campus, not on campus, do they attend some of the events? Do they not? How to get introduced to the person? There's a lot of factors. And then just because you go to college with somebody, that don't necessarily mean y'all gonna really like each other and hit it off, right? But I wanted to give some stats because I've heard KS say it, I've heard Ebony say it, I've heard a lot of people say it. And so I want to give you my perspective on college, right? Here's one caveat that people miss out on. Say you go to college and you go to University of Phoenix online, or you go to some online school for your bachelor's and your master's. Where do you exactly meet some people? right? Where do you exactly meet someone if the college is not in person? Where do you exactly meet someone who's going to school with you? Where do you meet those people at? You know, you may meet them on a class project, but most of the time, people online, when you're in college, they already have families or they're occupied. It's a reason why they went online. Time and things they're already doing. So I want to get some stats because everybody always saying that, you know, women pick these softball majors or what have you. But let's look at the stats. 21% of African Americans um, hold bachelor's degrees in health and medical administration. Number two is human services and community organization. Number three is 19% is social work. Right, this is for all African Americans, men and women. Four is public administration, 15% in criminal justice and fire protection. And I would just want to get all the way over here to computer science because it's only at 14% and it's number seven. And then we got sociology at 14%. Psychology, sorry, at 14%, right? We got interdisciplinary social sciences at 13% and pre-law and legal at 13%. It says African Americans who major in pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences and administration have the highest median salary at 84,000. But look at computer science at 65,000. Computer science is at 65,000. Computer engineering at 69, and at right behind pharmacy is industrial and manufacturing engineering. Right? The lowest earnings are social work, family and consumer sciences, human services and community organization, early childhood. Over here, they got theology, philosophy, and religious studies, right? And this is it's looking at the age ranges from 21 to 59. So that's a huge age range. But I want to give y'all some actual facts. So basically, if you're going to meet somebody, you're going to have to meet them in health and medical administration services. That's what it seems like. The top two is human services and community organization and health and medical administration services. Okay. All right. Now, I pulled up another one. I wanted to show this is from 2015, right? Let's look at this table from 2015. This shows scientists and engineers working in science and engineering occupations. Now, this is in 2015. I want to give you some background and then we'll come forward. 48% of white men in 2015 was working in science and engineering. And we're going to hop down here to black men and black women. 3%, 3.2% for men, 1.6% for women. Now, in future stats, this has changed. Hispanics, in terms of Latinx, let me say it that way, outnumber men and women in engineering now. We're at the bottom. We're at the bottom. All right. So that's that one. Now let's come over here because I thought this was very important. This right here says Black Americans' views of education and professional opportunities in science, engineering, and math. How do we view people who are engineers, who do math, anyone that does STEM? How is that viewed? How is that viewed? This is a very telling story. Compared with other professions, fewer black adults see people of their race at the highest levels of success in science and engineering. Engineers are down here at the bottom. Blow it up some more. Engineers are down here at the bottom. Scientists are down at the bottom. You see who's at the top? So, what does that say to me? To me, this says we don't care nothing about engineers. We don't care nothing about scientists. Y'all do your thing. But if you're a professional athlete, if you're a musician or a lawyer or clergy, we hold that higher, even medical doctors. But engineers, we don't hold no regard to. Now, I don't know. Put in the chat, just humor me. What do you think the average cloud engineer makes on average? Just on average. No, don't worry about location, just on average. Just throw some numbers out there. Cloud engineer, site reliability engineers, what do you think they make on average? Throw some numbers out there. It says overall, 84% of Black adults say Black people have achieved the highest level of success among professional athletes, and 80% say about that this is about. Let me back up. 80% say this about Black professional musicians. Majorities of Black adults say people have reached the highest level of success in law at 68% and religious. 150. We get 97, 150, 175, 100. Okay. What do you think on average a computer engineer makes? So I got some numbers for you because there's a difference between computer science and computer engineering. Views of Black achievement in STEM professions are similar among older and younger Black adults across levels of education attainment. Those with a high school diploma or less are somewhat more likely to say that Black people have reached their highest level of success in science and engineering than Black adults with more education. Black men are more likely than Black women to say that Black scientists have reached the highest levels at 44% versus 31%. However, there's no gender difference in views of engineers. No difference in views of engineers. Right? Black Americans rate scientists, engineers comparatively low as professional groups that are welcoming of Black people among their ranks. Right? So we don't even view ourselves as people who are engineers. We don't even view them as people who are successful. We don't even view them that way. Right? So are you gonna date someone who's an engineer in college? Or are you gonna date the person who's going to be the lawyer or the medical or down the medical route? You'll probably lean towards the medical route or the lawyer. The engineer, maybe and maybe not. And there are other things that go into their quirks, habits, presentation of the person, the whole nine, right? There are things that go in there, right? Let me go through this. A majority of Black high school graduates recall a positive experience in STEM classes, but sizable shares also recall mistreatment, and they talk about mistreatment in grad schools and so forth and so on. So this is a little bit more of that, and I'll drop this link in there. This is from 2021, so you all can read through this. Now, why did I bring all this up? All right, so let's go here. Computer engineering jobs, 2023. Right? So, and they have a good diagram on here. Let me get down here to this diagram down here. Back out a little bit so you can really see it. So in this diagram that they have, I must have missed it. Let me go back up. It's showing you, and I think this is awesome, as a computer engineer, the different things that you can get into, right? Different job titles that you can get into. So this one says Zipper created a computer engineer career map to help recent graduates find career paths. It's based on real resumes from job seekers with bachelor's degrees in computer engineering. And they also do this with computer science, electrical engineering, and so forth, right? So they show you can go into an electrical engineering internship, what the average salary is. You can do software development engineer. You could be a software consultant. You can do quality assurance. You can do software development engineer. You can do an associate software, hardware, technical consultant, a .NET developer, computer programmer, help desk. And then they also go down this path of showing you like what over time, and this over the first 4 years, they're averaging what they're seeing as an average, right? Now, I would expand this and say, as a computer engineer, you can also do cloud administration. You can also be a cloud security engineer, and those rates and those ranges go a little higher than that, right? On average, right? But I wanted to give you this because a lot of you don't even realize what your path can be once you graduate from college, or what your path can be if you obtain these certs, what your path can look like, what your money can look like, and so forth and so on. How to get them. Do you need to go to a 4-year college? Do you need to go to a 2-year college? So Tamika, still, how does this tie into Foolish Finance Friday? Well, it ties in because now you have an understanding and a path on what you can make starting out, how fast you can grow, what does that look like? And again, we'll go back to what Ebony K said, what Tyler Perry said, and what everybody keep talking about. Where do you meet people? You're going to meet people on a plethora of different spaces. You're going to meet them at meetups. You're going to meet them at meetups, conferences. You may meet them at work. You may meet them at a happy hour. You may meet them through a friend. It's just not one place to meet people. And I get tired of hearing where you should meet people at in college, because all colleges aren't the same. They're not. They're just not. All colleges aren't the same. Just imagine if we only have 150,000 Black men going into engineering across the entire United States. Across the entire United States, including Alaska, the territories, and so forth. How many men do you think you're going to really meet in college that's an engineer? Like, let's be fair. So if you're not going to meet them in engineering, you're going to meet them in some type of health and administration. And hopefully that school has that. At that particular school, it may not have that health and administration at that school. They may not even go there, right? So I get tired of hearing it. So let's get back to it. Let's go to what she said, why I talked about it. Let's go. Let me turn my sound up.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We have Lauren LaRosa here, our special guest host, and we got a special guest with us today.
Let's skip over
Leon. Green.
The paint, as in the paint that's on your face, Envy.
Shut up, Charlamagne.
Well, I'm happy you're here.
Thank you,
Lauren. I
Lauren.
said yesterday I would love to have a conversation with you about the video.
Now, what's the topic of conversation? I feel like this is
the constructive nature of it. And I said, since I'm down the street on the train, let me pull up and I want to hear from you, Lauren, about what you agree with and what you disagree with, and have a ladies' conversation about
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I'll start with what I disagree with.
Kim, first, for people that don't know, you want to play the clip of what went viral, so people understand that.
The reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year. No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. So here's my advice. If you are a young Black woman in college and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD. Because
So right there. So that's where I am saying, if you look at what the stats say, where we're getting degrees at, and if you look at who's getting what and what degrees, when do you meet these people? I have always asked this. Where are you meeting these people at? If you're not going into, from the looks of it, and let's look at the stats now. I didn't make the stats up, right? The stats say health and medical administration, human services and community organization, social work. Now the question is, if I did a 4-year degree in computer engineering and I come out with my cloud cert or some type of cert or whatever, how much money am I going to be making coming out versus that other person and the student loans? Because all I hear is about women come out with a lot of debt. I hear that. But I know for a fact, if you're getting a JD or any medical, you coming out with some debt too. So it's debt on debt. So now why does that matter, Tamika? That matters because you can't tell me his money don't matter and her money don't matter coming out of college. It matters. Your debt matters. Your debt to income ratio matters. It matters when you go qualify for a loan. It matters when you go try to get a house. It matters when you go try to get an apartment. It matters. So my thing is this: whatever you decide to major in, whatever you decide to go after, make sure you know what the end game is going to be in the next 5 years. Will you max out, or will you get to at least? I don't know why we keep trying to dance around this. I don't know why people have a struggle mentality about this, but if it ain't 100K, don't play. That's all I'm saying. If it ain't 100K, don't play. Don't get in that game. If you know in the next 4 to 5 years, y'all ain't gonna have 100K by yourself. I ain't talking about together. Damn that. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about you individually standing on your own 2 feet, 10 toes down. In the next 4 to 5 years, you can get to 100K. If you can't get to 100K, don't play. Don't get in that game. That game is rigged. Don't you roll the dice, you're gonna get snake eyes. It ain't for you. 100K by yourself. Don't take nothing less. Stop encouraging people and telling them that, hey, yeah, if they go down early childhood, they're gonna get. We see the numbers. We see the numbers. They're telling you right here. 10 of the lowest earning majors for African American is childhood education. 38,000. They telling you what it is. Don't do it. Do we need people in that area? Yes. Go to the library, grab some books, homeschool, whatever, teach them at home, whatever the case may be. Get Coco, what is it? Is it Coco Melon that's teaching everybody now? Coco Melon got you out there. They got you. Coco Melon got you. They got you. Physical fitness, parks, recreation, and leisure. 41. They're already telling you. Ladies, if you hear a guy saying, yeah, I'm doing early childhood, let me say this. We've already seen the top 3 the top 3 professions that make the most millionaires: engineers, accountants, and teachers. However, if you decide to date a guy who's a teacher and you are an engineer and he's maxing out at 50, you hitting 150, you chose. That's all I'm saying. You chose. Don't be mad. This is where I'm going with it. People ain't gonna like it. I'll get canceled. I'm okay. He can only help you with the light bill. He might can only help you with the parking meter. He might can only help you, especially if he just starting out. You got to understand that. I'm not telling you he's a bad man, Savannah. I'm not saying that. I'm not telling you a bad man, Savannah. I'm just telling you, if you just look at the numbers, you know where people are at in the first 4 or 5 years. Will it get better over time? Sure. Would he get more certs? Maybe change? Will she get more certs? Of course. I'm just telling you to set your expectations. That's it. Fellas, if you date the woman that's doing the early childhood and you like, babe, you know, I got us. You ain't got to keep working that job. And you over here and you're like doing social work. And you say, babe, you could be a stay-at-home mom. And you at 41,000 and you live in DC. Sir, you asking for a divorce. You are. Again, I'm saying it again. What we gonna celebrate? My divorce. Listen, you struggling. Stop. Don't kid yourself. Stop fooling yourself. It's just not there. It's just not there. I'm just trying to help y'all make the proper decisions. Don't be foolish with your future finances. Start learning how to save, start learning how to budget, start understanding where these careers are going, start understanding how this money is growing. You all can't be sitting on the sideline. You already see what's happening in Chicago with the immigrants coming in by the busloads. You already see they're going to get food, housing, and shelter. And they're going to get jobs. And they're going to be your manager. And they're going to have a taco stand on the side of the road. and they're going to have a farm. I'm just telling you. You better get it together out here. Stop listening to these folks. Get in the game. Stay in the game. Stay educated in the game. Stay educated in the game. All right. So I pulled this up too because I was like, you know, how far do these stats go back? Why are there fewer African-American men in college than African-American women? Right? And I'm not going to go through this tonight. I'll save it. This is from 2006. But my point is, by showing you this has been an ongoing situation. This is not new. This ain't new. They've been talking about this. They've been talking about the gap of knowledge, the gap in everything. They've been talking about this, right? And then this is what they were saying in 2006 right here, right? We'll blow it up a little bit more. They said African-American men lack role models in both home and school environments to encourage them to succeed academically. The lack of African-American male role models at home, at school, leaves many young African-American men with a limited idea of what success means. But if we go back over here to this one, is it this one? I must have closed it. Of how we view ourselves, we got the professional athletes at the top. across the board. It didn't matter, man or woman. This is what we see as the highest level of achievement, followed by musicians, engineers, and scientists down here, business execs down here, lawyers down here. That's a problem across the board. How can we flip this table? Because guess what? Guess who making more money? Them engineers. Them accountants, them lawyers. But we got professional athletes and professional musicians at the top. Right? Acting white and stereotype threats, academic and financial constraints. I'm going to give you my own personal take on some of this. All right, this Tamika's own personal take because I've had this happen to me before. I've been out hanging out with folks, talking, dating, this, that, and other. Let me tell you what happens. If I say, hey, I want to go check out this new restaurant, or I want to go check out this museum, you know what I get told? And I don't know, and put a one in the chat if you ever been told this. You acting white. Have y'all ever been told y'all was acting white? Because you want to do something different? Have you ever been told that because you seek to be better than what you was, you're acting white? Put a one in the chat if you've been told you acting white. Have you ever been told that you think you better than somebody because you got that little job you got? Where somebody be like, you got that little job, you think you better than me? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I do. I do. I do for you. I do nail for you. Yeah, I do. I do. Has anybody ever told you because you seek to move in different circles or go different places, you acting white? But yet and still, engineers, lawyers, executives are looked at minimum. But yet and still, we like professional athletes and rappers, we gonna glorify them. What's really crazy about it all is who making the money. It's a steady paycheck. You said nope too. I think it's because of how I was raised. I don't know what you mean. How you was raised. Oh, you mean no one's never told you that? I mean, that I mean talking about people that in your family, just talking about in general. Yeah. But it's crazy. What's crazy to me out of all of this is, and I'm gonna show this today. I showed this on on our meetup with Women in Linux Wednesday night. So I'm gonna bring this up now. All right. So Wednesday night, I went over this, right? I was saying, hey, you say you get a job that puts 25% into your 401k. This one in particular is for Australia, right? Say you get a base of 175, you get 25% put into your IBA, individual benefits account, and 25% into your 401k. No matter what you do, they're going to put 25% of your salary into your 401k. So with 25% of your IBA and 25% of your 401k, that is a total of 262,500, right? And that's before you even go over to Australia. Then they give you another 20% pay increase, which brings you up to 315. Plus you get 3,800 a month for housing, and you also, what's not including this, you get a stipend for your car too. And then so you get an extra 45,000, that brings you to 350. And then add in, they don't take out medical out of your IBA. They also go ahead and pay for your full medical. Then you get a free trip back from Australia to the United States, business class, first class. You go first class. So when you see stuff like this, and you know people that's over there averaging 350 to 400,000, and they've been doing it for 5, 10 years, what you think their bank account look like? So let's just, I like to do math, right? This is, what kind of show this is over here with Tam Sojourner Douglas. We like to read and we like to do math, right? We like for people to know how to read and know how to do math. That's what we do, right? That's what I do for you, okay? I do this. I do for you. All right, so 250, right? And let me go back. Let's do 170. Well, let me back up. 350, right? And say that person been working over there 5 years, right? You see that? 1.7 1.7 million, right? We're gonna round it up to 1.8. 1.8 million in 5 years. Gross in 5 years, right? Now, each year they're putting away 25% of your base. So we're gonna say your base again is 175, and we're gonna multiply that by 0.25. And don't forget, you still get to add in up to 66,000 your money into that 401k, right? So let's do minus 66,000 so we can get an idea here. So what's that? 3750. All right. So hold on. 66 minus what's about 43 something. We'll do 44. So about 22,000. Right? So you're putting in your 22,000. So we're gonna do 44,000. I'm rounding up. And I'm gonna keep the numbers the same. I'm not gonna increase it how they do for how they do with the IRS every year. I'm not gonna increase it. I'm just gonna say 66,000 and multiply that by 5. It's gonna be more than that, but we just give them ballpark numbers. So you'll have $330,000 in your 401k. I'm not including that it's gonna grow. I'm not including that your money, that your base is gonna grow. I'm not including that. We're just talking basic numbers here. It is going to be more than that, but I'm just showing you some numbers. That's 330,000 in your 401k. What can you do with that, with 330,000 in your 401k? Can you go buy a house? Can you go buy a duplex? Can you go buy a car? Can you take a loan from it? What else can you do? Oh, and by the way, you get also 8 weeks, 8 weeks of PTO, and you get paid out for them 8 weeks. But that's neither here nor there, because that's just another part of money. But I'm just showing you how engineers make money. This is just one way. Because I didn't talk about, you can also go 1099 and utilize your skills and make money another way, 1099, solving problems, right? So I'm just talking on one side. Put a 1 in the chat if you follow what I'm saying. I mean, I know it's not 500,000, right? It ain't 500,000. I get it, but I think you're gonna be okay. Let me know. If you're not, put a 2. If you're not okay and you're not following, right? Put a 2 out there if you're not following. But in 5 years, you can have 330,000 in your 401k. Right? I didn't even talk about the money compounding. I hadn't even talked about what all that looks like. But since we're in a discussion, Let's go to investor.gov because it's my favorite. It's my favorite calculator. Because we're gonna do the little compounding thing, right? So your first year, you're gonna max out at 66,000, right? And each year, your monthly contribution from you and from the employer, right? You got a contribution from you and the employer. So we know that let's go 44,000 divided by 12 is 3666. So we'll do 3700. And we'll do 3700 plus it's 1875 when you do it. We'll do 1900 because I don't want to do the exact numbers. I'm being lazy. We're gonna do roundabout numbers here, give or take. So 5600. So your monthly contribution into your 401k is 5600. Let's just go by 5 years. Let's just say let's be generous and do 9, and we'll give it a variance of 1 annually, and we'll calculate here. So in 5 years, you could potentially have, give or take, in here, if you look at these numbers, you could be at 516,000 in 5 years. You could be at 503 in 5. If you go at 9%, 10% is 516, 8% is 491. Now, that's just one pot. That's one pot. Sit there and let that just grow, right? Because you may have some ups, you may have some good years. You may be hitting some 10s in there. So let's play with it. Let's say one couple of years, it might have hit some 12s. Let's calculate that. 543, middle, upper, 557. All right, so we're still in the fives. So we could be anywhere from 500,000 to 600,000 in our 401k in 5 years. Does that sound good to everybody? Let me know. I'm just showing you how we view engineers, where you gonna meet people at, because we ain't even in school like that. We don't even have that number of engineers in school. So ladies, y'all gonna have to go to other locations. Your health sciences, your doctors, your lawyers. You may have to go to the physics department. I'm just letting you know. Right? All right. Do I want to talk about that? Probably not. But I do want to talk about this. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. But let's talk about this. My petty tea moments. So, this is where we get petty tea and Foolish Finance Friday all rolled into one. I got out of somebody graduated, somebody got some money, and now they say it just seems wasteful. I bought a 3,000 square foot house at 3% interest rate. It's too big. Do I sell? Now, I have another video for you. And we're finna get into it now. And I think this is a great video for you all to watch. Let me go to my chapters. So this guy, not the one that you see on the screen, the one that's going to be on the screen here soon, is a guy who does house hacking. What do I mean by house hacking? And this is important back to that topic of that lady in the house. What do I mean about house hacking? Basically, he stays in a house he buys a house or duplex or multi family unit, stays in it for 2 years, moves out, maybe fix it up, move out, right? Owner occupied. owner occupied. You want to know what you can do with that 500,000 that we just talked about? You can get a loan every 2 years and house hack your way to wealth, right? Foolish Finance Friday. She don't know what to do with her house. We're about to show her. We're going to show her what she could do with her house. I'm going to show you what you could do with your money. This is just one way. You don't have to take my advice. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence. Make sure you know what profits look like. Make sure you understand that. Just telling you. And how do we get here to get there? Your skills, your engineering skills, your problem solving skills, your ability to listen, your ability to actually solve problems. That's how you get here. You don't get here by arguing with someone online talking about we need for you to stay at home. That ain't how it happened. That ain't how it happened. We already seen the numbers. I did a show on it. Social Security already told me from the age of 40 to 59, you're only bringing in 49,000. So your pay ain't helping. So let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. All right. Find my mouse now. Oh, make sure I don't lose no power like I did the last time on the stream. Here you go, right here. All right, and then I'm gonna bring up some stuff.
And so you're working on a house hack right now, or are you in a house hack? Tell us about that deal.
Yeah, the recent one, the last one I did was a brand new build duplex that I built in the heart of Denver, right off Tennyson. Bought the dirt for $515, built a duplex, luxury, high-end 3-story rooftop, downtown views of that. And I was going to live in one, and the other side was identical, just mirrored. So I was going to live in the first one for 2 years, take my 250 plus thousand I'd have since I built it myself, live in the next one, do that. I got one of those out of there. And then this winter, I had the opportunity from a developer to buy a 2.8 acre parcel in Northwest Denver that had, and the zoning here allows me to subdivide that and build on 1 acre parcels. So the plan now is a 1991 original house, purchased for $2 million. The house itself is worth 1.4 to 1.6. The lot's worth 600 to 800. So in the process of subdividing the additional land down to 1 to 1.8 acres, I'm not sure how we'll divide it yet. And I'll either sell that and lower my basis, or I will build over there, sell my current house, and then go live in a brand new build, custom duplex, mountain views, and the works.
All right, so now let's talk about what he's talking about. So when I was listening to him, I was like, oh, I didn't even know about that. You might, I didn't. Right? So, I don't know if you know about this. The exclusion allows you to exclude from taxable income of $250K. Did y'all know about this? I don't know if you knew about this, right? For house hacking. Did you know about the $250,000 tax? Let's talk about it. And now I'm going to go to another one. All right, so house hacking, so forth and so on. Let's see, brought up a little bit more, looked a little small on your screen. All right, savvy real estate investors understand the tax implications should always be analyzed, since they will show you the true return on the investment, the post-tax net present value, NPV, at the bottom line. While house hacking is certainly an excellent strategy, few people tout and future understand the tax implications that come along with it. If you aren't taking the tax implications into account, if you are failing to report rental income you're receiving, house hacking could put you in an inferior position, right? So let's get down here to where they talk about the 250. Oops, I don't know why that did that. right here. All right. It says the problem here is by house hacking, you choose to forego the sexiest tax deduction available for people who own real estate, right? The Section 121 exclusion. The exclusion allows you to exclude from taxable income 250 of capital gains if you lived in the property as an owner occupied for the previous 2 to 5 years. You only have 5 years to do this, up to 5 years to do this, but you got to stay in it for 2 years. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was even possible. Put a 1 in the chat if you knew, put a 2 if you didn't. Dee, did you know about this? I didn't. I didn't know about the 250K. I knew about the house hacking, but I didn't know about the 250K. So let's go back. It says there is an exclusion on capital gains up to 250K or 500K for married taxpayers on the gain from the sale of your main. So if you sell, you get an exclusion, but you got to be in it 2 years, max 5. Really, you should probably get out at 4 because it may take a while to sell. That exclusion is available to all qualifying taxpayers, no matter your age, who have owned and lived in their home for 2 of the 5 years before the sale. 2 of the 5 years before the sale. Heather, this sound like a good deal to you? Buy your duplex, live on one side, bounce after 2 years, get the inclusion, go from there. That's just one way. So in this video, he talks about really how he house hacked, what he's done, how he's able to make 1.9 million tax free. I'll go back to this part right here where he talks about that, and then we'll move back to the actual Petty T moment as to why I think that could be a solution. I haven't read what the guy wrote back to her. We're just offering solutions before we get there. So let's get into this part.
All right, now moving into the good of your story here, out of the bad. At some point, you found real estate investing, and over the last 17 years, you've worked with a ton of real estate strategies and asset types. Here's a quick and very impressive list for the listeners: fix and flips, house hack, BRRRR, new build, high-end luxury, mobile home parks, land, including hunting land and camping land, oil and gas leases, small commercial, short-term rentals. You've also brokered residential and commercial deals yourself and have done pretty much everything short of big commercial. How the heck did you get into all these different asset classes?
And again, it's a real estate related show, so I don't want to kind of maybe get away from all the hogs and the farming in case people are not into that or that might not be a fan of them, vegans and such, which I fully understand and respect.
He's a farmer by growing up. His granddad was a farmer. His dad was a farmer. He thought he was going to grow up and be a farmer. His dad wasn't good with finances, and they lost the family farm, and they had to move to the city. And so that's what he's talking about there.
How that came about was I owned a motorcycle dealership. I started when I was in high school, and I was slinging motorcycles. I had a full license. I had a shop.
Oh, he used to sell hogs too, by the way. 2,300 a hog. See, he would grow hogs and he would sell them. So he's been selling hogs and motorcycles and everything else.
Truck, trailers, the whole 9 yards in high school. And I was doing that in college. And I was on the KU water ski club team. Yes, there is such a thing as a water ski club team. We literally every afternoon went and water skied with fit college girls in bikinis. It was
such a bro moment. such a bro moment. I didn't even know that was an option. But hey, each college is different. Like I said, each college is different.
I joked around. It was better than the football team having to wrestle around hot, sweaty dudes. So And the guy who started the club team for KU in the 70s was a commercial real estate guy in Kansas City. And I got introduced to him. And he's like, you got to quit slinging these like $2,500 deals. You got to start slinging the, commercial. So I didn't go home over Christmas break my sophomore year. And I drove in every day to Kansas City and got licensed and interned for him, slinging office space in college. And then that's what I did right out of college after I did an 8-month solo round the world trip. Came back to Kansas City and I got all three of the big commercial firms were recruiting me there. Went with CB Richard Ellis, world's largest commercial real estate firm, and said,
so why are we listening to him? So his story in the background, he owns 30 million in real estate. And in this story, and I'll probably talk about it a little bit more offline. In this story, he talks about how he became to be, how he owned the 30 million, and how he just uses house hacking. And he said he would do it until he dies in order to gain the different asset classes, in order to gain the land, in order to also even to gain the triplexes, the condos, the whole nine. So I'm gonna stop it here because I want to get back to our girl before we run out of time. But if you get a chance, go listen to this story so you can get a better understanding of where he's coming from and what I'm trying to tell you. And go look up that rule on 250,000 exclusion and 500,000 if you marry. Now, with this one, does she sell? Now that you know what potential could be, do you think she should sell? She has a 3,000 square foot house. It's too big? Do you sell? So let's get into it. I'm a 29-year-old woman who purchased my home in a small town in Illinois 2 years ago. I'm a 29-year-old woman who purchased my home in a small town in Illinois 2 years ago. I was shocked at the time to even qualify, as I'm a first-time homeowner in my family. I went big, and this house is 3,000 square feet. I make six figures, and I can afford the home. My mortgage is $1,200 a month with 3% interest rate. Should she sell or should she house hack? All right. It's just me, and the house feels so huge for one person, and the upkeep is a lot of money. I don't have a family or friends nearby, so it just seems wasteful. I also don't have anyone to show my home off to. I want to sell and buy a small condo. However, everyone is telling me not to because of the interest rates. What are your thoughts? Sell or buy? Put sell or buy in the chat. Sell or buy in the chat. Put sell or buy in the chat. Sell or buy. 3%, 3,000 square feet, small town. Don't know what she was going for. I'm house hacking. I'm with you, K Diggy. All right. Dear single, you're very lucky to find a big size home for $1,200 with a rate of 3%. That's amazing, given that the rates are now over 7%. Even though the home may be too big for you now, if you have kids and need more space, it could be a perfect place. Or if you have aging parents and have the need to keep them close by, the house could serve as a perfect home for you. Overall, you have a ton of options as to what to do with a big house down the line. So there are a few good reasons for you to keep it. But you feel that it's too much for house for one person. You could rent the home and make money off the property before selling, or you could rent a room in the home. Selling in order to buy is not ideal. It's not ideal, and swapping 3% interest rate, that's more than twice. That is even less ideal, even for a smaller property. A higher portion of your payments will go towards paying off the interest if you do. Renting less lets you keep your home and ultra low mortgage, and also allows you to have a tenant who can help you cover the cost, upkeep, maintenance, and so on. Being a landlord is tough, and some tenants can be tricky to deal with, so consider working with a professional property management firm to help. They will run the necessary background checks. If you're unable to find long-term renters, what about short-term? Is your home in an area that attracts tourists? Are you close to a university? You could rent a room, Airbnb, or similar platform. Plus, with little available properties on the market, it would be a challenge to find something good at a good price point. You not only have a ton of competition, you're also going to be borrowing at 7% plus rate. Your house is too big, but what happens if you feel like your condo is too small and you miss having a backyard? Being happy and unhappy is not dependent on the size of the house. It's how you feel about yourself. Make an effort to turn your house into a home by hosting a book group or having a few friends over for dinner. Even if you host a event once or twice a month, it might help change your perspective. Owning a large home is not necessarily wasteful, as it is an asset like any other. You just happen to live in it. Even if you can't show it off in a couple of years, and I never want to show off my house just because I got a big house. I don't know. Girl, bye. I don't even know what that is. In a couple of years' time, you can show off your house, how much the house appreciated, and hence your net worth. That will give you more options. Even a smaller townhouse in a more sociable neighborhood in the long run. Think carefully before you sell. All right. I say she should house hack. And if she's going to do that, she should rent out all the rooms and move into a condo and let them rent pay and hire a property manager and go for there. But I don't know why she need to show off her house. Who do people still do that? I'm showing off do people do that? Ladies, do y'all do that? Y'all go buy a house and you got to show it off? Y'all do that? Y'all be like, come over. Is that how y'all seduce the men? Won't you come over and rescue me? Y'all out here acting like Faith Evans. Are y'all out here acting like Faith? Okay, I'm just checking. All right. Let's go. Let's do this one. It feels like a nightmare. My siblings hid our father's will, which would have left me $135,000. What can I do? Yay, let's go. I thought I could trust my own family, but now I realize I can't trust no one. My father wanted me to have his 2 cars plus a cabin upstate, a former family farm that's valued around $135,000. However, our father's estate was split 3 ways between me, my sister, and my brother. Let's go. When preparing to sell our family home, I found an old will. What appears to be a will that my father wrote about 3 years before he died. He cut my brother out of the will due to reasons I won't go into here, but he had substance abuse issues among other problems. My father wanted me to have his 2 cars plus a cabin upstate, a former family farm that's valued at $135,000. However, my father's estate was split 3 ways between me and my sister and my brother. Do you take them back to court after you found this will? Do y'all go back to court? Are you who petty? Who is petty tonight? Are y'all going back to court? It's already been split. Are y'all gonna go back to court? Are you that petty? Are you that petty? So let's get into it. When I told my sister and brother the will I found, they did not seem surprised. In fact, I could see it written across their faces. They either knew of this will or even had a copy in their possession. They met my questions with silence. I could have done with I could have done with that money to help pay off my mortgage and pay my medical bills. It feels like a nightmare. I thought I could trust my family, but I realized I can trust no one. This has not changed my financial future, but it has altered my view of the world. Don, you swinging on them? D and Don? I know Heather ain't swinging on nobody. Heather, I know you're not gonna swing on them. I know you're gonna just gonna take the loss, Heather, and you're gonna move on. I know you are. I know, Heather, I know you. Tonio, I know you're gonna take, I know y'all gonna take the loss and be okay. Y'all gonna be like, it's all good. I don't need that. That's my family. I know you are. I know. I have faith. I have faith. It said, my mother passed away in 2008. My father passed away 6 years ago. Is this will valid? What can I do? Sick to my stomach. Dear sick, there's one thing that never fails to shock other people's alleged misdeeds. It would be nice. My siblings would never. He said, it would be nice to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if your siblings offered no sign that they were surprised by the news, you may be correct. It's a cautionary tale to always do your due diligence and not take other people at their word, especially if they are if they have a vested interest. If this column has taught me anything, is that some relatives would do anything if there is an inheritance at stake, whether it's a house or an old truck sitting in the garage. Who was the administrator or the executor of the father's estate? Do you have evidence to back up your suspicions? The statute of limitations for suing a person's estate varies by state and may also depend on the nature of the case. All right. So here's a cited case where a judge ruled that a person who hid a will could not hide behind the statute of limitations. The doctrine of Lachaise is equitable defense that may be asserted in the absence of statute of limitations when a party who has a known right engages in an inexcusable and unexplained delay in exercising the right to prejudice of the other party. The law firm says, here's the plaintiff's delay was excusable given that the defendant failed to notify them of the will. The firm continues, following a trial, the court found that the defendant might have been a caring and loving nephew, but he totally abandoned his obligations to the decedent as the fiduciary under the power of attorney and as the executor of her estate. The judge found that the defendant had intentionally hidden the terms of the decedent's will from the beneficiaries, and that the statute of limitations would be equitably told. The defendant was ordered to reconvey the home to the decedent's estate to repay the estate for the balance of the mortgage, as well as transfers he made from her funds to pay the plaintiff's counsel fees. If you die without a will or without a legal will, one that is not notarized or that has some legal anomaly that invalidates it, it will be left up to the law in your state to decide who gets what. Y'all make sure y'all have y'all wills together, living wills, living trusts, right? That can be complicated if, for instance, your spouse dies before you. When somebody dies intestate without a valid will, their estate goes through probate process in accordance with the state law, and the money gets tied up and it can be in probate forever. The probate court will take an accounting of all the assets in the estate, real estate, life insurance policies, bank accounts, furniture, and jewelry. These assets will then be distributed to the beneficiaries. In this case, your father's 3 children. All right, so those of y'all got 401ks, term life insurance, whole life insurance policy. Do y'all have y'all beneficiaries filled out? You never know what can happen. Go in there and get, and if you are married, and you if you have remarried, don't have your old spouse on there. Y'all go get rid of your old spouses. What y'all still got her or him on there for? What is going on? You got a $2 million life insurance policy, and your current wife been with you for 20 years, and then next thing you know, you pass away, and the other one get all the and she get the ex get all the money. Do you know that lady probably gonna go set that other lady on fire? All right. You should also have a lawyer examine that will you found and look at whether you may have a case against your siblings. Should any wrongdoing be found, a person making a will or signing a power of attorney must be of sound mind, also known as testamentary capacity, and not be under or subject to duress, restraint, fraud, or undue influence. Even the wealthiest people have been known to leave no will at all. Prince and Michael Jackson both died intestate, or to download a will from the internet and write it out with any legal advice, or even write a will by the book but forget to sign it. Godspeed on your investigation. I hope you find justice. All right. Next one up. Maybe. I think I like this one here. My husband, 76, took out a $25,000 life insurance plan, costing us $215 a month. Should we put that in a 5% savings account? He's 76. He took out a $25,000 life insurance plan. What's she going to do with it? He going to have her at the cemetery. He going to have her at the cemetery. What is he going to do with this $25,000 life insurance plan? That's cremation. He probably want to be in the casket with the white doves and the horses. We don't have savings or investments except for $10,000 money market fund and his $10,000 market fund. She got 10 and he got 10. They have no savings. He took out an insurance policy of $25,000. $215 a month. I don't make this up. I'm just bringing you what happens to some of y'all, or could happen to some of y'all in old age. I don't know why he took out a $25,000 policy at 76. What's she gonna do with that? Let's continue. Both of us are retired and we're receiving Social Security, and neither one of us had life insurance when we got married. Let's go. My husband and I are healthy 76-year-olds. We have only been married for 7 years after being divorced and single for many years. Both of us are retired and we're receiving Social Security benefits. Neither one of us had life insurance when we got married. About a year ago, my husband enrolled in a $25,000 life insurance plan for which we have consistently been paying $215 per month. It is in my husband's name and I am the beneficiary. If he passes away, I will receive the $25,000. Should we have another insurance policy in my name in case I should pass first? D making me laugh. I applaud them for getting married at 7 years ago. Would that make them what? 69? They make them about 69. Yeah. Y'all be killing me with these stories, man. We don't have savings or investments. except for my $10,000 money market fund and his $10,000 money market fund. What do you think would be smarter? Keep the life policy and continue adding to our money markets, or drop the policy and put the 215 in our 5% high yield savings account. We purchased a townhome when we got married, which is now worth $280,000. We have a mortgage balance of $80,000. Okay, we're getting a little better here. We're getting a little better here. We're getting a little, but they ain't got nowhere else to go. They can't go nowhere else. They're gonna have to ride this $80,000 out. What do you recommend? What y'all recommend? Should they put the 215, get rid of the policy? If she gets rid of the policy, I don't know how she gonna bury him. I guess the money is to bury him and leave a little something left. But the mortgage is $80,000. She could put 20 on the principal, or she could put 10 on the principal. But he should have took out at least $100,000. Needed $100,000 with that $80,000 balance. I mean, is he gonna live to see that $80,000 balance paid off at 76? Is he gonna make it to 86? He said they healthy. Let's go. Dear couple, your husband has already spent $3,000 on this life insurance policy, which is a lot of money given that relatively modest return. The older you are when you take out life insurance, the higher the premiums will be. To put this in context, the cost of a $35,000 whole life insurance policy, larger than what your husband can expect, will be $125 for a 50-year-old male, $174 for a 60-year-old male, and $263 for a 70-year-old male, 60-year-old, 70-year-old. It's still a lot of money to spend every month, and you could get a 5% annual percentage yield on a certificate of deposit or high yield savings account. CDs attract people who are looking for safe haven for their cash or for a certain period of time. Money market funds provide more access to your cash, but may have lower rates than CDs. Rates are currently competitive. However, they typically track federal fund rates, which is around 5.25 or 5.5. Patricia Tobin, a certified elder law attorney based in San Rafael, California, and fellow blah, 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 receive a slew of unsolicited offers for what she describes as low-value insurance policies in the mail, but many older Americans do indeed take them out of events like a funeral and burial experiences, she said. But Tobin warns they could be erroneously expensive for what you get. What are your goals for this insurance policy? How much do you plan on spending on the respective funeral expenses? You will need to weigh up that answer, taking your current mortgage, property tax, emergency fund, Social Security. They ain't got no emergency fund. I don't know why you put that up there. Social Security benefits and other income expenditure into account. The average Social Security benefit for someone your age is $1,886 or $2,161 for a male and $1,656 for a female. The cost of the average funeral hovers around $78.48. So it's enough to bury both of them. She just have to take that money and put it somewhere in the CD. And then when it's time for her to pass on, that money come out and bury her, right? Nearly 30% of people told a recent Chase Mutual survey that the rise in prices has caused them to change their funeral, burial, or insurance plans. There has long been a debate about funeral prices, transparency, and sticker shock for grieving family members. So it makes sense to think about all these issues ahead of time and to plan ahead. You could also explore the option of revocable or irrevocable funeral trust, payable on death accounts, and the aforementioned savings accounts. One upside for funeral trust: the funeral and the burial expense agreed upon at the time of setting up the trust, which can help you save money, assuming that these expenses tend to rise along with inflation. One downside, a revocable trust could affect your Medicaid eligibility. If you set an irrevocable funeral trust, then you transfer control of your assets to the trust account for management by the trustee. You can revoke the contract or reclaim your benefits with an irrevocable trust. The assets are locked until benefits received. The beneficiaries receive the benefits upon death. Conversely, if you set up a revocable funeral trust, you can retain your assets and can typically make changes to your contract terms. I hope this helps. D, what are your thoughts? Should they set up the trust? D is like it's over for them. They 76. I just playing D. All right, y'all put in the chat what y'all think, what you thought. If you like the show, also please leave comments underneath, right? If you go back and watch, I don't think they had kids. It didn't say if they had kids or not. It didn't say if they had kids, right? It didn't say if they had kids, right? But I thought these were very interesting this week. There are some other ones that I have found, some petty tea moments that are videos. I'm gonna save one of them for tomorrow. I'm gonna have a little petty tea moment tomorrow. Now I ain't gonna have a long one. Yeah, I don't know. They probably have to leave it to charity. They may have to leave that to charity, right? But don't forget to look up in this $250,000 credit, 250K tax in exclusion credit for owner occupied. Oops, not accidental, right? And this is from the IRS right here. The sale of your home. If you have a capital gain from the sale of your home, you may qualify to exclude up to $250,000 of that gain from your home, or up to $500,000 if you're joint. The qualifying for the exclusion, 2 to 5 years or so forth. However, you must meet both tests during the 5-year period ending on that date. Generally, you are not eligible for exclusion if you exclude the gain from the sale of another home during that 2-year period, and so forth, right? And so this is just a little something, all right, to get you going and understanding how you can leverage your IRAs, your 401ks, and so forth, your TSP, and so forth. So just give me another option. Again, this from the IRS. Take a look at that video, and this was updated too, June 15th of 2023. So it's pretty recent here when we're talking about what this is and how you can do it. All right. That's all the time we had tonight. Wanted to give it to you. Make sure you understood. Catch y'all in the morning. Yeah, in the morning.